I think with Tayeb and Raneem kind of leaving the game, and it almost does feel a little bit like it's weakened that top five a little bit. And I thought what might happen is that someone might kind of put their head above the pack and go, well, okay, like I'm not maybe going to be number one right now, but I'm going to put myself as a clear number two. And I think when you look back in history, there was that rivalry between the number one and the two, whether or not they were winning a lot. Like when I watched Natalie Grinham and Nicole for a lot of years, Natalie didn't win a lot, but she was clear number two. She never lost to anyone really below her, but she only really rarely beat Nicole. I think it was the same with me and Nicole for a while, and then me and Raneem for a while. And I think that it's quite common to have a clear number one and then either a one and two that are fighting or a number two that's just below and they put the head above the pack. And I was sort of thinking, who's going to do that? Who's going to step up and go, I'm number two and I'm coming after you to Noor Sherbini. And I thought that maybe Hania was looking like she might do that. I thought maybe it might be Camille with the opportunity of like Raneem and Tayeb going. I thought Amanda was playing really well in black ball, and I'm sure they're all wanting that to happen. It's just who's going to actually make it happen. And Sherbini for me is of course beatable, but on her day when she turns up and she's got that really nice balance of being relaxed but determined, which I think is when she plays her best, then she's going to be really tough to beat. And it's going to take someone with kind of a lot of determination and a lot of honesty and a lot of willingness to change and put themselves out there to kind of be like, I'm putting myself above the rest of the pack. There's no doubt that the World Championships is a completely different animal when it comes to performing at an event like that, and that equally hands such a big advantage to Noor Sherbini because of having been there, done it. You know, she wants to win the World Championships. She doesn't need to win the World Championships, and that's the difference that I think pretty much everybody else on tour, if I'm right, hasn't won a World Championship. So when they get out to that week is like handling nerves and handling the situation, handling what it means to become world champion is such a huge thing. I think that Hania has definitely got the game and the mentality to hold it together, but she needs to also put her performances together. I think Camille will be really, really hungry, but whether or not she can actually put a performance together for the entire week it's still questionable. I would like to think she can, but she hasn't done so far, so you never know if that's going to happen. Sobi's obviously got a bit of a home advantage, and you never know how that's going to play, but my gut's sort of saying that, you know, as long as Sherbini is fit and she is hungry, she's going to be really, really hard to beat for the fact that it is a world champs, knowing how to handle it, and also on her day being the best player on tour, I think, in my opinion, at the moment. I found the last few events really interesting to watch, and it's been hard. Obviously, no one's really been able to get any sort of continuity, I guess, with their training or their performances, and Sherbini often seems to completely thrive in those sort of situations. The world champs that she won was really kind of, you know, seemingly on the back of a knee injury, hardly played, and she just can come in and win. And I've never known anyone be able to perform or work the way into a tournament the way that she can. So I think perhaps whether it was the injury or whether it was a little bit of complacency in the black ball that Hania won when she beat Sherbini in the final, that potentially looked like, I wouldn't say complacency, it just looked like a little bit of a shock. It looked like a shock to her that she hadn't really thought about the fact that someone else might be coming up. But then look what happened on the back of that, like the regroup and the fact she's still number one, and she played unbelievably at the last El Gouna tournament and really just showed her level again. So I'm sure there were going to be times, there is with everybody, there's complacency and there's dips in form, and you know, whether that's down to injury or just mentality, who knows. But I think with her and, you know, never having won El Gouna, never having won black ball, she's always setting herself new challenges, and that's what the top girls do. They'll always find a way to create that drive and that determination to keep going forward. So the complacency, if it's there, doesn't last as long as maybe her opponents would want.
What's it like to win a World Champs?
I mean, indescribable, really. I think I talk about it a little bit in the book. It's sort of, the best way to describe it is that it makes everything in your past worthwhile. And I think that sounds quite deep, but I think it's really true that everybody is fighting so much to make everything that they do and all the sacrifices worthwhile, that you can't help but think that when that pinnacle comes of a World Champs, British Open even, world number one ranking, any of those three, it makes the career and the sacrifices worth everything that you've done. And it's sort of one of those, like, if I never win anything ever again, I'll always be world champion. And I think that's why it means so much to people to say, particularly world champion transcends sport. You say you're a world champion in any sport and everybody knows what that means. And it's hugely kind of centering in a way, just that kind of that all that work, all that effort is now, you know, I've done it. And it's kind of calming to know that you've always got that for the rest of your career. And I played 3 World Championship finals, and it was tough to lose 2 of them, and you wish that you could have won more, but there's never any regret there with that one. And winning the British Opens as well, it's sort of like, you know, makes sort of your career worth it when you look back.